Hey everyone, me Kevin here. I asked you to send me your financial successes and failures for a show called The Ride on this channel. One of you sent me a story about the pandemic's eviction ban preventing you from getting squatters out, and all of a sudden, the house burning down. One of you showed me how you took the worst house on a street and turned it into an amazing rental property with zero money out of your pocket. And one of you showed me how you made over $70,000 moving your savings into stocks and taking advantage of some awesome things we talk a lot about on this channel. Welcome to The Ride. This is where we learn how to make money by seeing what other people have done and are doing. If you have a story, by the way, feel free to email me via the link down below. It's theride@meetkevin.com. Make sure to follow the format in the link down below and include pictures, otherwise we can't get you in. And if you get featured, you get a $50 thank you and a shout out. So let's get into the three for today. First, the fire deal. So Ivan Lopez, who goes by Ivan Lopez on YouTube, bought a house last year as a rental property. He rented it out with a 12-month lease, and here are some pictures of the property. Unfortunately, the tenant ended up passing away. The tenant was a great tenant, paid on time and everything, but the tenant passed away. And unfortunately, when Ivan went to the property, he found out that squatters had moved into the property after the other tenant died, and these were supposed friends of the now dead tenant. Ivan was now at a loss. He had non-paying squatters in his property, and he still had a mortgage to pay. This was also his first rental property, and now he's pretty much in the worst case scenario, where you don't even have a contract with squatters who are in your house, and you can't get them out in the middle of a pandemic banning evictions. Now, Ivan called the sheriff and said, hey, these people aren't allowed to be in my house. They're squatters. We don't have a contract with them. But of course, the squatters said, well, the previous occupant told us we could live here. And so at that point, the sheriff says, sorry, even though they're squatters, they have the same rights as tenants. You need to legally evict them, which good luck during an eviction ban. Now, there are ways to do it, especially for squatters, but it's really tough, especially during a pandemic. And what happened next was insane and fiery. But before we talk about what happened next, I want to introduce Raian. Raian had a net worth of $0 at 18 years old. Through his college, he interned 6 different times at different software engineering companies. However, while living in dorms and paying his school tuition, any extra money he made, he didn't invest. In fact, he just blew on tech gadgets that he really wanted. Eventually, he ended up getting a job at Snap, making around $7,000 a month, which was a huge pay bump for him, going from $20 an hour to making about $84,000 a year. But he didn't invest, and he spent most of the money he got. By the time he turned 24, Raian had about $20,000 to his name. Well, in the last 2 years, Raian did something that helped him get his net worth from $20,000 to almost $400,000 in just 2 years. And I'll explain how in just a moment. Keep in mind, if you have a story that you want to share, go to the description down below for details on how to apply. Next introduction is Alex Franck. Alex Franck bought a beater fixer-upper of a house against flippers with no experience in real estate, no money to his name, and the only knowledge he had was being part of my real estate investing course linked down below, which you can use the Labor Day coupon to join. During the process of him dealing with his first rental, Alex had a lot of struggles, including stolen materials, threats of vandalism and harassment, and ultimately cops getting called. But the outcome of the story is pretty intense and also inspiring. But we gotta wrap up some of these stories first. So let's go back to story number 1 and figure out what happened to Ivan. Ivan had squatters living in his house, not paying him a single dime, yet he had to keep paying the mortgage in the middle of a pandemic, and he wasn't able to get the people out. He was distraught, and we did anything we could to try to help him in our Discord chat, which any of y'all can join in the link down below. Well, unfortunately, Ivan disappeared for a little bit, only to reemerge one day with pictures of his house like this. Totally destroyed, burned down in a fiery inferno, a complete and total loss. His first rental property, gone. Burned to the ground. Actually, it would have been better if it burned to the ground. Burned to a crisp, but not collapsed. And now you basically need to tear it down because it's in such disrepair, there's no point to even trying to fix it up. Ivan came back to Discord devastated. His first rental property completely gone, thanks to squatters who took advantage of the pandemic and a dead person to bully their way in. And guess what we said? Ivan, this is the best news ever. The fire literally got the squatters out. The fire basically evicted your squatters for you and for free. You didn't even need an attorney. Boom, fire equals tenants gone. The best part, number 2, after you pay your $1,000 deductible, the insurance is buying you a brand new house. Now, Ivan has the choice between rebuilding the house brand spanking new to 2020 standards instead of the old 1950s or older house that it was. He can now take that money and rebuild a brand new house. Alternatively, he can pay off his loan and he could end up walking away from this deal, selling the land and take the money to pay off the loan and walk away with a $48,000 profit on top of his original investment in the property. That means Ivan literally had the worst thing ever turn into the best possible outcome in real estate. And this sounds ironic since we're talking about a place burning down, but hey, nobody got hurt here except the insurance company, and well, that's the point of insurance anyway. Now, obviously, I don't encourage you go burn down your rentals to get insurance payouts. That would not be good. But Ivan plans to take his money and invest it in another Wedge deal and take some extra steps to make sure squatters don't move in after the prior tenant passes away. Like, that's such terrible luck, only to be followed up by a total amazing blessing. Congratulations to Ivan, who now has an extra $48,000 to his name and a whole lot of learning lessons. And again, don't start fires to get rid of your non-paying tenants. Now let's get back to Raian. How did Raian go from $20,000 in the bank at 24 to a net worth of nearly $400,000 at 26? Well, this time, rather than real estate, Raian did something I talk about regularly on this channel. Raian got a better job in technology. He used those internships and his years grinding away, getting a better and better job every time to leverage into a job at Facebook. In his first 2 years at Facebook, he got paid a little bit more than his $84,000 that he got paid at Snap. He got bumped to a $220,000 annual salary. He took all of his extra money that he made after taxes and threw it into Robinhood. Some of that he used to buy stocks, which he ended up holding, and some of it he used to, well, plop into a cash account in Robinhood to save up for a down payment on a house, which is what he's working on now. In total, he invested about $78,000, and now, today, his account has grown in value to over $154,000. On top of that, Facebook increased his salary for this year from $220,000 a year to $330,000 per year. Holy smokes, like this goes to show, folks, if you get into tech, wow, there's an amazing amount of money to be made in tech. And this reiterates what I talked about with the Federal Reserve the other day. When I talked about the Federal Reserve issuing 2 big warnings and saying, hey, you gotta make use of tech and don't get used by tech, this is how you build your wealth. Now, what about Alex Franck, who also has a YouTube channel, but ran into cops called buying a house and trying to fix up a house? Well, remember the before pictures? And remember the fact that Alex had no money, but he knew that this house was a great deal. Not only would it boost his net worth by thousands of dollars by buying the place, but the house would also cash flow $300 per month with Alex borrowing everything to get this deal. Remember, Alex had no money. So to beat out flippers, he bought the house that he found on Zillow using a 25% down payment with private money and an escalation clause to beat out the flippers. And since his loan was a private money loan, he was able to use the after repair value of the property and get a loan for 75%, which was bigger than the purchase price and bigger than the fix-up cost that he needed to get the property to that value. So Alex basically bought this place with zero money out of pocket. Now, he fixed up the property and did a lot of work himself, including drywall, painting, he learned some carpentry, and worked with a lot of vendors that were recommended to him by his realtor and by his agent, who helped mentor him through the entire process. But he ended up getting stuck with a handyman who ended up having beef, stealing some job material, creating some threats, and starting to harass Alex to the point where Alex ended up having to call the cops and finally ended up settling everything in a happy and positive way with the handy person. Now, it goes to show making money in America isn't always without ups and downs, but the bottom line here is look at the property after. Alex is super excited about the tenant he has. He's got solid cash flow. He's got a property that's ready to go. And the thing that makes Alex so excited is he purposefully took a slightly lower than market rent to make sure that he could pick the best tenant possible. And that's what he got. He got a tenant with an amazing credit score, amazing incomes. We've actually got dual incomes in the household. He did everything he could to insulate himself while also providing a quality property. He did all of this with no money out of pocket. He's now increasing his net worth every single month as he pays down that loan. He's got cash flow on top of that, and he increased his net worth when he bought the good deal, and he beat out those darn flippers. Congratulations to all three of y'all watchers. Ivan, Ryan, Alex, you're all killing it, and despite initial hardships, honestly, y'all dominating. So if you want to submit your story, it can be a success, it could be a failure, it could be about money and relationships, it could be about loans to your siblings or family members, it could be about real estate, it could be about stocks, it could be about options. I don't care if you won big, I don't care if you lost big, it could be about gambling. If it has to do with money, I want to hear from you. So check out the description below. Make sure you use that format, and if you don't include pictures, I can't include you. It's an application, so I can't include absolutely everybody, but I'm going to do my best. Congratulations to Ivan and Ryan and Alex. You're all getting $50 and a shout out. I'll put your information down below. Congratulations again. And folks, we will see you all next time.